The following is a Productions original series.
Hello and welcome to Walk and Roll Live. I am Doug Benson along with Addie Rich. Our podcast is dedicated to amplifying the voices of the disability community. I am a polio survivor and Addie is
born with CP. When you put the word "is" in there, I was like, wait, what? I was born with CP, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go. Love to trip you up. Now, how was your week?
That's just rude. That's rude on a day like today.
Well, I know you're already teetering on the edge of...
Teetering on the brink of exhausted. Yeah. My week was really good, but you know when you have a week when you're getting ready to travel, like even if you don't need to pack until 2 days before, my mind has been packing for 3.5 weeks, and then it comes and it's Tuesday, and I'm like, shoot, I should get the suitcase.
Yeah, I should do this.
So it was that week, but I mean, it was good, and I knew I was looking forward to coming out here, so... Yeah.
And if you've listened to past episodes, you know that Addie is out here. She still works, because she works remotely and has done that since way before COVID. So she's one of the OGs of working.
I'm an OG home worker, whatever.
So she's here for the Abilities Expo, which is coming up this weekend. So we're going to be out there at least Friday and Saturday. And I don't think we'll have the stamina to go to Sunday. But there is a cool movie that they are going to show before they open on Sunday, and it is I got to write these things down. It's called something on the move, or it's gone to you know what I'm talking about.
I've heard about this. How cool that they're going to show that. Yes.
Yeah. I started searching around because probably not going to go on Sunday, but I started searching around the internet to see how you can see it and see it maybe streaming or something. And there's a lot of opportunities. I guess you can reach out to the man that inspired this whole documentary, and it's about mobility devices, the lack of I think customized mobility equipment, because of course so much of us have some very specific needs, and so it's going to be pretty much a one-off.
Sizes. Yeah, exactly. You can't. This is not like would you like a hot dog?
Yeah,
and if it's treated like that, then we got a problem.
All right, I found it real quick. The Power to Move, Thomas Quieter. They're going to show that before they open the doors to the hall on Sunday at 11 o'clock. Movie before. Doors open at 11.
Yeah, so I was just getting ready for adventure.
Yeah.
And here we are. We're here now on this coast, loving the weather. I mean, it is warm, and people, we went to a brewery yesterday. People were talking about how hot it was sitting outside. And I was like, well, come to Georgia in about 6 weeks when we have full humidity and it's this temperature. I'm like, you will never hear me complain about California heat.
No.
Never.
So was there, you kind of alluded to maybe some wrinkles in the flight on the way here, the travel?
Well, thank God, I have people, I don't really watch the news so much because it's so freaking depressing, but I had a lot of friends be like, don't go early because the whole government shut down. There's not very many TSA agents and whatever, right? Well, in former days, when you went to the handicap line, there wasn't also parents and whatever. Now it's kind of the free-for-all line if you're anybody but yourself, and it took 3.5 hours to get through to my gate. I came 3.5 hours early. Yes, I came 3.5 hours early. They were already boarding my flight when I got to my gate.
What?
Yes.
So there were some people that were sitting on the plane for 3.5 hours before it ever took off?
No, I'm saying to get through the security, to get to your boarding.
Not the actual walking onto the plane. Okay.
No, I'm saying, they normally say if it's domestic, 2 hours is what they advise. Yeah. Well, I had heard some stuff, and so I went 3.5 hours early because I'm a nervous Nelly. Mm-hmm. And I am so glad I did because I might have missed my flight.
Yeah.
Literally, Atlanta's one of the biggest airports in the world. We know this. But they normally have 25 stalls for TSA, so they're just running lines. They have 2 or 3 handicap lines. There were 4 TSA agents in all of the stalls, total. So that is what was taking hours and hours. And even because it was taking so long to like get you through the handicap line, you know, like the kid told me that the one he did before me took him an hour and 45 minutes. Well, they've got to get all the way through that, then back from like the gates basically to the ticket area. So the turnover takes so long to get somebody back to push the next person. The staffing is also insane. So, and I mean, this was arriving at 5 a.m. at the airport. So this wasn't like 10 a.m. This was 5 a.m.
Yeah. Wow. So you sound like you probably just made it onto the plane.
I just skidded on. They were like, okay, hurry up, come on. Because, you know, normally they try to put you first so you don't have to like trip over other people. There was no time for that.
well, nowadays there's like a list of, and I'm not exaggerating, 8 different, you know, groups. You know, they stand up here. If you're a part of this group, if you're a part of the, and people with a disability are about 4 deep on that group of 8 different groups. Often. Yeah. Yes. So I won't mention the others. And
however,
but
I made
here.
it. I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Good. Well, we'll look forward to, you know, kind of romping around Abilities Expo and seeing what's new, seeing what's old, seeing new friends, making new ones, all that good stuff.
Exactly.
So.
Collecting more in our Rolodex.
Yes, exactly. And I kind of did that at the conference that I went to. You know, I actually, our guest today invited me to go. We only met a month or so ago at one of the many mixers I go to, and you know, our missions kind of aligned. So we've been kind of helping each other overcoming change, which we'll talk a little bit about in the interview. But you know, I went as a guest, and really the conference was all about HR. So I'm thinking, what do I know, you know, about
why
HR?
Why am I here?
Yeah, why am I here? Yeah. You know, and of course, that's the first question everybody asks, you know, what do you do? Who you here with? What do you do? And I, you know, and I just would come right out with it. You know, she invited me, you know, and I thought, well, let's check it out. It's in Vegas. So, you know, not a bad destination.
That's what I was going to say. You got to leave your house.
Yeah. So, but it turned out great. It was one of the best conferences I've ever, you know, conference experiences that I've ever been to. Yeah. You know, everybody was, you know, very gracious. You know, once I would say, you know, I really don't know HR, but I came along with her and I have a podcast. Oh, tell me more. And then I learned that, you know, in the HR world, I must have run into 8 or 9 people that had, oh yeah, I got a podcast too, you know, and all of theirs are about HR. Yeah. So
you do the lane, you know, which we're doing our lane and they're doing their lane, and you know. Yeah,
and the other big thing, you know, without going on and on about it, but is that I was really surprised, and to kind of give you context, like the first kind of breakout little session that I went to, you know, I had these 4 women up there, and they were vice president. One was vice president of Coca-Cola, and the other ones were other like tech companies that I had never heard of, you know, but big. Yeah. And other people, if I said them, they might have heard of them too. They're big. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Duolite, or I think it's a
Duolingo?
Not Duolingo. No, it's it looks like Duole, or you know, maybe French, but I think it was like Swedish or Scandinavian or something like that. But at any rate, they were one of the big sponsors. But very quickly, I realized that AI not only is a big part of HR, but has been for quite a while, you know, that they've been involved in it. And most of the people I talk to, I would say it's interesting that out in the world, you know, the day-to-day world, the narrative is AI scary, AI bad, AI going to take all our jobs. No, and they're using it to enhance your career, help find you, you know, the skill, or where, you know, you might have a deficiency in what you're doing, you know, which might hold you back from advancing career-wise, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's perspective, right, in a way, because Disability In, which I get to go to later this year as well, they hosted one about the place, you know, AI and accessibility, and it was really fascinating. Like, they did not talk about what I thought they would talk about, but like the accessibility coordinator for like Microsoft Copilot was there, and different things, and like the way that they talked about, again, what they've unlocked with some of this stuff. I walked away going, this is so rad. Like, it's so much more accommodations. The accommodations are easier. It's less of a fight. Like, you couldn't have told me I was going to come away with that.
Right.
From that.
Right. Yeah. You know, one thing I did notice, and I mentioned it to a few people put the bug in their ear, and hopefully that'll start the ball rolling in some small way. But looking around the room, myself and my partner there, we were the only people that I saw in like a wheelchair or a scooter, so much of a cane, and I'm like, so not really well represented at that higher level of HR. And here, these are the people that are helping us deal with our accommodations. So I thought that was kind of ironic. So hopefully they'll work on that.
Yeah.
So
cool. Well, we like to open doors or suggest doors that don't yet appear.
Yes. And looking forward to getting together with you. We haven't actually been in the same space yet, but we're going to raise some hell here pretty soon. And we'll be at the expo. And then next week, we're going to talk all about it. So if you can't make it, we'll try to give you, at the very least, a thumbnail sketch of what's going on there. Bobby Rohan from Live to Roll and Robert Soto from also the Live to Roll network. I think he does the Rolling Over the Hill show. Yeah. So
fun.
Yeah. So they'll be with us and they'll give us their impressions as well. Want to thank Kai Westcott. Yeah.
Yes. I love Kai.
Been enjoying his videos now that we've connected. A buddy of mine, I've sent a few of them to him, and I, just working with him for years and years. I knew he'd relate to Kai.
You're like, I'm not calling you out, but I'm calling you out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I love to call him out. We're those kind of friends.
Yeah, exactly, right.
All righty. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share so you get a part of what we're talking about here. And thank you. If there's a lot of new listeners, because as I look at the, what they call the analytics, I see that there's much bigger numbers than would indicate by looking at this week's episode, any week's episode.
Right.
So a lot of people are looking back and finding the library, and they're here now. So, we appreciate you joining the conversation.
We like you.
We like you.
We like you anyways, but now we really like you.
So coming up today, we have Lera Alexandrova. She was actually disabled from a very early age, or at least had an injury. And
she had an injury that would later result in, it was like an evolution of a disability, I feel like, because part one happened, it was kind of treated, then life circumstance exacerbated, right? And so it evolved as life evolved as well.
Yes, and she wants to try to get people together, improve the availabiliability to care, or at least the finding of it. I think the care is out there in the rehab, but it's hard to find sometimes.
Yeah, like when you're going through a crisis, you're not like, geez, let me go look 16,000 places to see where I can go to a rehab hospital.
Yeah, last thing on your mind.
The mental power to go do that.
Yeah, when you're dealing with this big crisis in your life. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. All right, so we'll hear from her coming up right after this word from Addie Professional Training.
At Addie Professional Training, we know that your greatest asset is your team. Investing in their development, knowledge, and happiness is essential for your business's success and growth. To achieve new heights, it's important to hire intelligent, talented individuals and empower them to excel in their areas of strength and passion. Addie is committed to transforming your employees into happier, more productive, and fulfilled individuals. When your team thrives, your business prospers. Wise leaders understand that providing team members with opportunities to shine in their strengths unlocks untapped potential. Elevate your team with Addie Professional Training and witness the growth of your business.
From the Addie Professional Training Studios, you're listening to Walk and Roll Live, Disability Stories.
The morning light spills across the floor. I take a deep breath and think about what's ahead. Most days I'm moving without a hitch. Sometimes my body taps me on the shoulder and says, slow it down for a while. The day is mine. I've got people I love and people who love me back. I get to chase what matters and laugh until I can't breathe. Some days I pause, but I never stop. Life rolls on and I'm rolling with it.
Well, first off, thank you for listening to Walk and Roll Live. Always have some incredible guests, and today is no different. So I'd like you to meet Lera And I want to give her some time to kind of give you a brief introduction before we just get into the whole story. So the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lera Alexandrova, and I am a single mom with disabilities, 2 young children, and I'm a founder of Overcoming Change and OC Hub. That's very briefly.
There we go. There we go. So let's see. I don't know if I want to start with what your disability is or start with the story of how you came about, because it was very young for you, right? At 2.5.
Yes.
Was it an accident?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just hit my back, and I believe there was a damage at the area T5, T6.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
So basically just a simple fall like toddlers take every day?
A little bit different because it was at the childcare, and I came out looking for my mom and some dad. I still remember that. It's interesting. Walking backwards because he put some new coat on his child and he wanted to see it and he didn't see me. So he kind of like almost stepped on me.
Gotcha.
Tripped on you. Yeah.
And I fell, and my mom said I hit my back on like a sharp corner.
There you go. Yeah.
But then I had a disease like you, Doug.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, different disease, but
Right.
it was epidemic in Belarus where I grew up.
I was going to say, and maybe we should get into that just a little bit before we go too much further. You probably notice she's got a little bit, in this country, at least, for an accent. I'm sure in yours you don't, but just maybe briefly say where you're from in that part of your story.
Oh, that's going to be longer because I happened to be born in Siberia.
Oh, amazing.
My mom grew up in Belarus, but she wanted to explore, I believe, as a student. She went to build a dam. I don't know if I pronounced it right.
Yes, probably.
So a dam that holds back water. Yeah, okay.
Yes. And she got married, got me, came back to Belarus, and I grew up in Belarus. And then later in Japan. But
how long did you spend in Japan?
I was in my 20s when I started traveling to Japan as a model in the summertime. And then I was studying at the college in Belarus. And then I moved to Japan, probably I was 25.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
For like 11 years, yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Did you learn to speak Japanese?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm still.
I was like, you can't live there for 11 years and not speak Japanese. Like, what are you going to do? It's interesting. I feel like European people have a way different way that they travel, right? Because in the States, we can't go very far. It takes a long time, like even California to drive the whole thing or whatever. But in Europe, there is a lot more travel and like a lust for visiting things. We had exchange students in high school that came from the Netherlands, and I was lucky enough to go and visit them. And my dad's sister lived in England for a while, but I really noticed like how much you guys have so much more of a lust for learning other things.
I don't know about, again, going between the countries. It takes a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so at my last count, you speak 3 languages.
5,
But there are more? Yeah.
2 languages kind of forgotten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
If you
get to
don't
use them.
practice them. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to back you up a little bit though. So
Yeah.
you were injured when you were little. What is like the medical care, or like what happened after you fell? How did they kind of handle it? Were they like, just get up and you're okay? Or did they take you to a doctor, or how did they handle it?
Like you said, got up, you're okay. Oh, you got a little bruise, fine. But as a baby, I couldn't speak that well yet. So I was just keep repeating Wawa, Wawa, which means Awi. And when the bruise wouldn't go away, my grandma said, you need to take this kid to the doctor. Because then she noticed a little hump where the bruise area. And yeah, they found out I got TB in the vertebra, and I was already grown this hump or like
Oh, the
hatchback.
hump, yeah.
So kind of like a tumor, but
If you've seen, I've seen in the movies, like some small people, like midgets, with a big hump in the back. Those people, that's the ones that had TB in the spine.
also TB,
wow.
tuberculosis, right? Yeah.
Amazing. So, like, the trauma basically started the spot for it to kind of attack.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then there were some surgeries that followed that.
Yeah, first one was just done locally to clean up, and they thought with lots of antibiotics they could stop it, but they didn't. It went deeper and melted pretty much my T5, T6. So they had to find the place where they specialized specifically on spinal injuries and spinal cord. And they didn't have anything like that in Belarus or in Moscow. My mom had to take me to St. Petersburg, or at that time it was Leningrad. So they did the surgery when I was about 4, I believe, and it went successfully. They put some other child's donor bones there, and they put me in a cast for over a year. So I just had to relearn how to walk for the second time. And then I had to wear a cast. I remember like a jacket made of cast for all my first and second grade at school. And I had to go to special school where I had all these PTs every morning. I hated it. And
Yes. I feel like that's what we always say. We didn't love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
OT as well, I imagine.
well, now I think that was a blessing to just create the stamina, to have a core muscles. And I could have over 10 years in Japan where I could forget about all the nightmare I went when I was a child.
Wow. So it pretty much, they were able to repair it to a place that you could live and live a fairly normal life then?
Yeah, it's just growing up. Of course, putting strength on that weak spot, it bended to 45 degrees. But you couldn't see it. If I would be standing straight, they couldn't see it. They wouldn't just give me modeling jobs for wedding dresses because of my scars. But
Yeah.
and I would bend over sometimes to show that little hump or hatchback that I still had because of that deformity. But that's pretty it. And they told me no sport, no children, and I didn't listen.
Yeah. You said, yes, I'm having children.
Yeah, I'm having
So that's
children.
kind of when it popped back up in your story, was that you got pregnant and carrying a child.
Yes, they said, okay, maybe one with a C-section. And
What was their concern, that it would be too much stress on your body?
that's all very good question, because C-section also, they put epidural, and
Yeah,
that
no
puts
joke.
stress on your spinal cord.
Yeah.
I don't know why it had to be C-section. So I had naturally first child, and then it didn't happen right away. I mean, because I knew that I could have complications. We did MRI after the first child was born, and they found some bubbles in the spinal cord. They said, oh, you got some liquid accumulated. They call it a cyst, and
Okay.
hydra means a water. So hydrosyringomyelia, that's what I call it. And when they got bigger, those bubbles, instead of size of pen, the spinal cord became size of hair. And they said they had to do emergency surgery so it doesn't blow up and I wouldn't get paralyzed from the neck down.
So you're like, yes, please, go ahead.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Well, funny thing that I was going through divorce at the time, and I just had a second child in 2014, and they want to do this emergency surgery. That was a lot to take
Wow,
in a
yeah.
foreign country. And
Where
but
were you? You were in the States or you
yeah,
were?
yeah, I was
Okay.
here.
Okay.
Good question, because after we had first child, we went back to Japan, as that's where I met my husband, who is from here.
Okay.
But he's a pilot, so he got a chance to have more pilots hours flying for another airline, and I had a chance to be in Japan again. So for another 2 years, we stayed there, and then we came back, and that's where we had another kid, got divorced.
Where the whole thing changed. Yes.
Mhm.
Well,
Do you mind telling us a little bit about Japan? It sounds like you were very fond of that. So, what
oh,
were some of the highlights?
everyone I know here, all my friends that visited Japan, they're fond of that
Yeah.
country. Um, Especially if you just visit like a tourist, right?
Yeah.
Living a little bit tricky because without language, you see, it was hard for my ex-husband. He said, I can't stand it, that I can't be fluent, you know. He learned a little bit, but he wasn't fluent, and it was hard for him to communicate. Plus, the Japanese have a tendency to have uchi and soto. Uchi means home, and soto, everything else, outsiders. Even other Asian nationalities would be outsiders for them. So,
Kind of a version of birds of a feather flock together.
probably. So, living there over 10 years would take a toll. I mean, you have to really adjust and borrow a lot from the culture, or have at least someone in your family who loves you, a Japanese. That would help.
Yeah.
If you just two foreigners there, you eventually would go home.
Right. Because you just feel so lonely and isolated.
Hmm.
Okay. So you were there, you were doing modeling and you did acting as well. Was it there or in the States? Where did you pick up acting? I mean, obviously you were young when you started modeling.
I did. I started in Belarus, but I was a little bit too short. I had to be 170 centimeters. It's in centimeters. And then I was 167, so it was like an inch
You're like, give me
more.
some shoes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when I got a chance to go to Japan, my mom said, no, you're
Uh-oh.
not going. They're going to take your passport away. They're going to sell you for slavery.
Yeah.
And it's
And
good.
what
How old
age
were
was
you?
that?
Mm, I was, I think I went to Japan right before my college, but I went to college a little bit later, so I was 21.
Okay.
And because I didn't have a father, I guess I just didn't listen to my mom. I went there, had no regrets. I was
Yeah.
able to earn enough for me to study finally, because I always wanted to have a degree. And for 4 years, I was studying economics, international
Okay.
economics in Belarus. And every summer, I would go and work for another 2 3 months, get more money as acting. And when I moved there, yes, that's where the majority of my acting and modeling was done.
Okay.
In the
Japan.
US, yes, I think I was only on Discovery Channel, and only because I kept doing acting classes so I don't forget how to do it. When I
Yeah.
had a baby, and we had Richard Delancey coming from Los Angeles
Oh,
and
cool.
saying that they were looking for stewardess that looked like German girl, and they called me for audition. I passed it. They liked me, so you
There
can
you
still
go.
find me there, yeah, on YouTube.
Oh, fun. That's cool. But what an adventure. I mean, I think it would be different being an actor in a different culture too, than like fighting with everybody in the States to
Yes,
to
it was
act,
much,
right?
much easier.
Yeah.
Not as big competition as in the US, that's for sure. Because I do now acting with my children when I have
Mhm.
time. And it's just a backstage or some commercials.
Mhm.
My kids love it. And for me also, I love doing it. I think if I wouldn't have to think how I'm going to pay my bills and work, that's what I would be doing. I would keep doing acting, modeling myself,
Yeah.
and with my children.
So there's kind of the obvious challenges that go along with acting, doing the auditions and, getting doors slammed in your face and no, and, having to deal with that. But at the same time, you're dealing with your health and your personal life. So what were the challenges of all of that together?
Good question, because I think the biggest challenge was to find help, to find right resources. As I followed a person to this country, and he was all my world. It was everything I knew and everyone. I made some friends along the way, but again, I've noticed in Orange County in California, people grow up together and they just have a tendency to be in their own bubble, in their own environment. So it's really hard. Once they start inviting you to their houses, that's nice.
Yeah.
Because you are also, outside, like in Japan.
So, and you have no family here, and nobody supports you like your family. You don't have them.
I don't have family anywhere left, like not in Belarus, not in Japan.
Wow. You become your own little island, but your children are your family. You've created the next generation of family, right?
Yep. Like I go to Harvest Church, and my Bible studies lady is saying they are my second temple.
Well, yeah, because it is family is who you make it sometimes, right? Some of us are lucky to still have blood that is around, but others, it's just who you surround yourself with.
Yeah. I've kind of had to do that. I have family, but I moved here years ago, got married and then separated. So all I have is my daughter here. Yeah. Any other family, that's it. That's all that I have here. But I have so many people that are like family to me.
Yeah, for sure.
That's good, because I also had so many friends when I came here, and they were still around for the first round of my surgery, 2015. But then 2019, when I got to the wheelchair, and then the COVID, and then after COVID, it's like I can't find anyone. A lot of them moved to different places, and a lot of them just got fed up that I'm still in the wheelchair and nothing changes.
I don't want to skim over that because I want to get into maybe a little more detail. I don't know if you caught that real quick, but a couple of more surgeries just in the last half dozen years. But I did want to ask, you just in a little time I've met you, and like many people know on this podcast, I go to support groups and just different mixers and things, and I meet people and I invite them on the show to tell their stories, and we hear their fascinating stories here. And just in a little time I've gotten to know you, you're very motivated. You seem very ambitious. Do you have a memory of when that started? Have you always been that way? Or is it some of these challenges in life that just kind of said to you yourself, I'm not going to let this overcome me, and giving you that drive?
I think that I was so close to give up after my last surgery, and during the COVID, being isolated, with no family, just having 2 children. But I was analyzing all my life, and I was like, no. I think, God got me prepared for all this since I was young.
Yeah.
So I can't give up. I have to keep going. And when I came up with this idea, when I realized that I can't work 8 hours a day, I'm in a constant pain because I still have a lot of feelings in my legs and my lower integument, everywhere. I have a lot of pain. So I always have to change the position. I can't sit too long. I can't stand too long. I can't lay down too long. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of our audience can relate to that too.
Yeah.
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 And you don't know what's worse. I had a friend that got paralyzed surfing. He just moved to Miami. We're still friends.
Nice.
He is my something that motivated me, my hero, Geoff, he said, I don't know what's worse, Alex. Me surfing and boom, get an accident and then not having any feelings, no pain, and having my family supporting me, or you going slowly through all this
Yeah.
without support.
Yeah.
So
I guess that's part of the story too. So so you have your children, it exacerbates the injury or does things so that it resurfaces. And so in 2015 they do another surgery to try and what were they trying to do in 2015?
2015, that's right after 2014 when the second child was born. That was emergency surgery where they
Okay.
had to put shunts where
Oh, to clear the liquid.
there was
Yeah.
a lot of liquid, yeah, and they had to support it with rods because it was
Okay.
collapsing all that 45 degrees structure of my spine. I kind of wish they would do what they did in 2019,
Hmm.
where they cut out the deformity and put the cage. But what if it would be, it would put me in a wheelchair then?
Yeah.
Plus, my baby was only, what, 8 months old?
Right.
And the other one was 4 years old. So I'm glad I had another 5 years with them while I was still walking.
Yeah. And then so in 2019 they did something else and then you transitioned to the chair.
Hmm. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it was massive surgery. They did a great job. I really admire that I found doctor from the Chuck Hospital, Dr. Mahonan.
Hmm.
He took my case only because it's from when I was a child. And he got on the board because I had Call Optima insurance, right? He got on the board amazing orthopedist, Dr. Biderman. And together they did a miracle. I mean, if I'm still getting up, I'm still standing up after they had to take all this previous rods, right? Cut out deformity, put the cage and implant, put another 4 rods with all the screws, and put another drainage, the
Yeah,
shunt,
drainage. Yeah, shunt.
at the C, at my cervical spine or the neck.
Oh, wow.
Now,
So, yeah.
if you don't mind, if you could share maybe a little bit leading up to that surgery, what you just described, I think it would give me pause whether I would do that or not. Did you have some reservations?
For the last surgery,
That last surgery, yeah.
I think I spent 5 years trying to find who can help me because I realized that after the surgery, or 4 years, after the surgery in 2015, I was still dragging my leg. So it was numb. So I was kind of limping. I
Yeah.
could walk independently, but I was limping. And I started having all kind of bladder issues and other things. And I thought, if I could just find an a good surgeon, they will just make me walking again like normally. I didn't think it could become different, but at the same time, I could feel that 2 rods were not supporting all the pressure. They were bending and collapsing. So,
So by that time, you were ready
yeah.
to take, whatever risk there was.
Plus, imagine the children are so small. I mean, from
Mhm.
2015 to 2019, even 19, when I got in the chair, they were still like 4 and almost 8.
Yeah, that was going to be my question was how old were your kids?
Yeah.
So they mostly know you as a seated mom.
My older one remembers me walking,
Okay.
hmm
But you can
but
mom
not.
from a seat just as well. Probably better because you're not like coping as much with pain and different things. And we always talk about kids being resilient and like being natural helpers and learning compassion and all the things that, don't happen if they don't learn those skills.
So
So,
what do you do now? I mean, since 2019, we're talking, 6 years, 7 years?
So before that last surgery and before COVID, I worked in IT. I worked for a company in Japan. Thank to my friends putting me up. And
That was in Japan?
the company was in
It was in
Japan.
But you
I
worked
Do you work
remotely?
remote?
Yes, so I work remotely in IT, and I work mostly with Power BI, Power Automate.
Yes.
So I remember when I still picked up a project in 2021, and I thought I can do it because after the surgery, I was finishing and transitioning and giving the project to other IT people. After, I couldn't work much. But then I picked up small one in 2021, and I couldn't, work more than 3 months. Plus, they requested more hours, and I remember I had to stop. And that's all Social Security cares about now.
Yeah.
That's another story also. I am still officially, they physically admit I'm disabled, but they're not given disability or any support or any help.
Wow.
So when you say you couldn't work, it was that issue with sitting in one place too long, all of those things.
Yes.
Right.
So the great thing that what happened when I picked up that project, and I was looking for how can I work, how can I continue. So I stopped working, and I joined. It calls DOR, Department of Rehabilitation.
Yep.
And I worked with a person directly helping me find the jobs. And believe it or not, with 2 bachelor degrees, business school, and all the diplomas I have, I couldn't find the job. There would be like some jobs open in the parking lots, but I can't sit too long, There would be some jobs open and I couldn't stand too long. So eventually they did a great thing. They helped me to acquire a standing device.
Oh, cool.
So now for me to keep doing things in front of computer, I can be seated or standing in the same device. So it's a standing device, but it's not a standing frame. It's like a wheelchair. You can go with it standing or sitting.
Amazing.
And I
think
love
I've
it.
seen one like that. Really cool.
Yeah, I think Mateo Robotics, what the company's name that make them.
Neat. Yeah, but it shows you how your physical health, not like everything is connected. It's not that you didn't want to work, it's that you physically like get so fatigued that you cannot work because like the pain threshold
It's
and everything.
pain. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pain because when you have pain, you can't focus.
Exactly.
And without a focus, you take more drugs, painkillers, and you're foggy. You can't concentrate.
We would hope that the system would work well enough that, because usually devices like that, like everything with a disability, is just so exorbitant that you can't afford it. If you could get disability, enough to cover a device like that, then you could go to work. And that would save taxpayers money because you could go to work if they would cover a device like that. But they seem like they try to, one size fits all kind of system. It's much more complicated than that.
And it's interesting that they were even able to help me adjust my minivan to the way where I could roll in my wheelchair, drive in my wheelchair, but I can't be too long in the wheelchair.
Yeah. So you have to adjust so much that you have to be stood in different things, right? To move the blood flow around and the feelings, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. If I sit longer than 2 hours, my feet become black.
Oh, wow.
Not
Because the
good.
blood flow is
Scary.
bad.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's a lot. But I mean, like I say, it's a perfect example of the container can sometimes limit and stifle what the brain can do because the brain is a powerful thing. You're obviously super smart and motivated and all these things, but your container limits like some of what you can do. And I think that's where a lot of judgment comes from people, right? Because why can't she sit still? Like just do it, and that's not how it is.
It's funny, I'm listening to my pain now. Because sometimes I am so into work, like I have to get this done. And the pain is telling me, no, change location. You know, some people have an Apple Watch or they have some software that helps them reminding, oh, you can't sit anymore at the
Been
computer.
Yes.
Yep.
sedentary
Mine
too
does that.
long.
It taps my watch and says, stand or walk or whatever, move.
And you say, shut up.
I say, I'm busy. No, but at
Got
least I
things to
try.
do.
Yeah.
Well, we've got, I don't know, 10 so minutes left. So we want to hear about your kind of your passion project that you're doing now.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess in the end of 2022, I finally met the community. I could join Cole's Triumph over Paralysis Foundation. And the fact that I had only a heavy standing device and a heavy quantum chair would limited me going out with my children, being active, or joining their events. And they were able to, someone donated, and they were able just to donate me a light wheelchair air hawk. It's an amazing community. Mostly they're putting up adaptive events, but they also have resources on their site. They also have exchange where people can donate and exchange the equipment. And I was so thankful for that light wheelchair that changed my life. So in 2023, I was exploring, okay, what can I do? And looking at resources, sometimes you look and there's so many companies. How do you know what company is good or what is out there? I didn't know I could put a Guido hand controls in my car. Thank God to my friend Geoff again that, you know, I could see he's quadriplegic and he's still driving. So I learned from him I can still drive. So I was looking for one place or one hub where I could go and see what else is out there for people with disabilities to be supported with the right equipment, right things to go through the pain or find the jobs. And I realized I have to create it myself. So I started slowly. I started with Overcoming Change that was created just to connect people to the companies, to the resources, through my story, through conversations, through the messenger. So I have a plugin there I call Connectability, where people can share their stories, put their pictures, put what helped them, and not feel alone navigating disability or their transition. And then from that mission, the OC Hub was born. Just last year, I separated, created a Yelp style platform. I call Yelp style because people understand quickly.
Yeah.
Like I said, many companies, many nonprofits have their own companies they work with and their resources, but I wanted people to have the voice. I wanted people also to share, like those restaurants we go and eat and we don't like something, we can complain, or we like something, we can say, oh, I really like this, you have to go and get it. So same idea here. I had a poor experience with a company that installed my lift. And then every time I would go and try to fix it, they would charge me arm and leg. I'm not going to mention their name, but I just don't go there back. Hope I find another one because I need some maintenance on my lift.
Right.
And
I know a guy. I'll help you out.
perfect. And that's also, you know, I was like, why do I have to always try to find it where I can create one?
Yeah.
And once your guy, you know, will help me, it will be a little bit better price or a little bit better service. I'll gladly list him as a platform and put review for him.
Yeah, and it would be nice to have the word of somebody who's already experienced their service to let you know. So, yeah, you don't do the trial and error and the expensive route. Yeah.
Plus, I
So,
list it by services, so it's
oh,
easy
cool.
for people to understand, yeah, what they're looking for. I also separated in 3 categories, like what newly injured needs. The person who lives with disability over 30 years probably doesn't, or it's already pretty adjusted and can just go and do acting or singing or, sports. And then we just added seniors. I really want to have more resources for senior people, because if not everyone have someone disabled in their family, then pretty much every family has some seniors that need some help, rather in nursery home or right doctors or right hospitals or, all the resources.
So is this it's a web page, like where people can go to? That's what it's primarily a web page.
Yes, it's a website. Eventually, the app will be coming, but people nowadays, the app makes it just for you to find it easier, right? Oh, I have this app. I can just go there and find resources. But if you remember, that's why we probably came up with shorter name OC Hub, Overcoming Change Hub. But just, OC Hub, go to OC Hub. People will start talking and using it. We just need to have more resources for them there, for them to see the value.
That's awesome. Well, and you have your IT background and all of that, so you understand how to build those things. You're able to take some of your skill set and use it to forward your dream, I guess, and your dream to help other people, right? Because I think sometimes stepping out of yourself is how we feed our own cup. You know what I mean? Paying it forward and eliminating someone else having the experience you had because you know better and you want to be part of the village. So that's admirable.
Yeah.
And
Help
you're
people get there quicker.
You're absolutely right. We need the village.
Yeah.
we need everyone come together. All the nonprofits, I want to come together. All the people and the companies, because everyone has these great ideas going through all these difficulties and challenges. And it's hard to do it on your own. Yeah. Why wouldn't we come together in one place?
Yeah, everybody's busy these days, and that takes a lot of time, especially to do the research and not only find a company, but to find a good one. So, yeah. So all those things are on the website. We've already, been chatting. So we're added them to our resource page. Mm-hmm. And I've been adding a whole bunch of others and still going to continue doing that. So we'll collaborate on that. And I think that's...
Join our club.
Yeah, exactly.
I love the page of resources that you have. And I would like to also add an overcoming change, because people could remember, okay, there's a messenger, I can share my story, and there's a podcast that is updated every week. Mm-hmm. And they can always click and listen to the latest podcast and latest news.
And for the whole time we've been doing this, I've invited people to come on and tell their story. And we're very, I'll admit it, we're very Southern California kind of centric at this point, but we're branching out. We're finding other people. We're finding other countries that we've interviewed people, some of them still to come here in the next few weeks. But, that's part of the resources too, just across the United States. So I've been searching more generic type terms like adaptive sports, and I'll find programs in other states, and I'm adding those to resources. So it's not, if you're hearing this wherever you are in the world, if you have a great source in your area, let us know and we'll add it so we can share it with other people, and they can go there and do a search. And there's a very easy, especially if you know the name, if there's a search bar where you just put the name in. So if you're looking for Rolling Star, you put Rolling and it's going to go right there. So that makes it easy.
Yes. We also
especially as it grows and grows and there's more and more resources on there.
Right. So. We're becoming a digital yellow pages.
Yeah. And there's a lot of listeners that go, yellow pages. What are those?
I know. I can't help it.
I know. And you're young.
Well, I listened to your a couple of recent podcasts and I was amazed that you did have someone from Africa or you have from different countries. That's where I think my dream is to see that this is going to become nationwide and then eventually global.
Yeah.
I think that together we can build more than a platform. We can create a supportive space where people can find the help, trusted companies, and each other.
We had a guest on, Lisa Cox. Remember Lisa from Australia? And
I love Lisa. She's awesome.
She was in marketing and then became disabled. And kind of her mission is to make people with disabilities more normalized in the media. Whether it be a dramatic acting thing or commercials, whatever it is. And I don't know if you've noticed lately. And every time I think, I wonder if Lisa had a hand in that, because I saw a commercial yesterday for an insurance company, something like that. And, no, it was taxes. It was taxes. And this gal's talking about getting her taxes done, and she's in a wheelchair, and you could barely see it. It was like behind a desk. I had to look a few times to see if it was a wheelchair. And all they were talking about is this gal getting her taxes. Had nothing to do with her being in the wheelchair, but it's just nice to be represented in that way and not be, because we have some, special inspirational thing that we do.
Story.
Yeah. So there's just more and more of that all the time. Good to be a part of it. And I hope we're doing a small part.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts that you have before we let you go?
Well, I want to thank you very much for inviting me. This is actually my first podcast, and
You did a great job, right?
Yeah.
I just remember I always wanted to write a book, and last 5 years I'm like, who is reading the books? No one is reading them anymore. So podcast is something that been in the back of my mind also. I don't think I have enough to lead the podcast like you guys. Plus, with my accent, I always have to speak like that so people understand me better. But yes, I am very thankful to be able to share my story, to share the idea. And I'm sure we are going to find some sponsors. And once the ball is rolling, once we get enough funds and make it viral, make it like nationwide, like I said, or even global, I hope everyone would find it valuable.
Each week on Walk and Roll Live, we share honest and open stories of people living with a disability.
I was excited to show my family just how much better of a skier I got to be. So we went up on December 30th. Then the next morning, I woke up 10 out of 10 pain. Chest, back, head. I slowly lost all feeling from my feet all the way up to my chest, that I was paralyzed, essentially. I didn't understand what was happening. All I knew is that something scary was going on. And
Join us weekly for another powerful episode. Walk and Roll Live, wherever you get your podcasts. Life, limitless. Subscribe now.
From the Ugyar Professional Training Studios, you're listening to Walk and Roll Live, Disability Stories.
Such a fascinating story, right? Like we talked about in the open, the evolution of the injury, because it's the chicken or the egg, which we kind of play the chicken or the egg with me too. Obviously I was born with cerebral palsy, but I was born early. Then I had medical issues and had to be flown back to Stanford. And it could have been then, I could have been fine. And then I could have been then. So we do kind of play the chicken and the egg, but those of us stuck in that circle or that have the opportunity for that circle know there's no use in it. But it's just fascinating to hear another story where it's like, okay, so you dodged the bullet in that spot, and then the bullet kind of came screaming back, and now you're at this space. Because a lot of people, I've had people, and even recently, somebody asked me, if 20 years ago you could have done something to take away your CP, would you? And I was like, no. And they were like, really? I was like, yeah, it makes me who I am. Are there days I'm not pissed off that I can't drive? Certainly, there are many of those, but to wholly remove basically the essence of me is just a no. So I think that listening to Alex's story too, we probably feel the same, that like she's had a journey, and now this path would never have happened had the journey not have gone the way it has.
Yeah, and I think we all get asked that question, because I know I have. I think at some point somebody wonders about that and they ask you, and I feel the same. I'm perfectly happy with
somebody able-bodied feels like they can fix you by removing what they see as the problem, and I'm like, well,
but without considering the fact that every one of your experiences has brought you to who you are, and if you're happy with who you are, you don't want to take the chance of messing all that up. So I've carved a wonderful life for myself, and so
Well, also, I think it's that moment where people think, "Oh God, if that happened to me, I could never do that." Right? But you're like, you do what you do. Like we say this too in our own story. Like when we're listening to stories, you and I have talked about, like, is it better to be born disabled or to become disabled? Right? Like, that's the same question in a different way, right? So everybody feels like their threshold for like panic and survivalship is. We all have things that we say we could never do that.
Yes. And many times it's come out in the interview without us even asking about it that that folks feel blessed. This was a turning point in their life that probably saved their life.
Right.
Each story is individual, but there's been a lot of that too.
There's been quite a few of those where they're like, well, I wouldn't be here if that didn't happen.
Yes. So thank you, Alex, for spending time sharing your story with us. And next week, or this coming week, as you listen to this, it may have been months ago, whatever. But Abilities Expo is coming up this
later.
week. Yes. So hopefully we ran into you there and made a new friend. But we're going to talk all about it next week with a couple of our old buddies, Bobby Rohan and Robert Soto. And I think that's it. It added a few more things to the resource page and some other things. So, check out the page whenever you get a chance. There's always stuff there. If you see anything that needs improvement or, is lacking in your mind and you want to help us out, I love the critiques. No problem there at all. Anything else for you?
Nope.
All right.
NAP is in my future.
All right. Looking forward to seeing you.
I love you all. I will dream about the Abilities Expo and all the things to come.
Yes. Look forward to seeing you face to face very soon.
Yes.
All right. And for you, we'll see you next week. Thank you for joining us here on Walk and Roll Live. I'm Doug Vincent for Addie Rich. Thank you from the Aguiar Professional Training Studio. This has been Walk and Roll Live, Disability Stories, Life Limitless.
Walk and Roll Live.